Major Garrett joins us now from Washington. Major, as you mentioned, Trump met with RNC Chair Reince Priebus. Which side then, based on the meeting and what we know of it, seems to need each other more here, Trump or the RNC?
You know, they both need each other quite a bit, but there's really nothing to work out at this moment. Trump needs to get the delegates to win this nomination outright. If you talk to a strategist, as I do on a regular basis, they know that is the way to end all of this drama. Win the delegates, arrive in Cleveland with that magic number of 1237 or more if they can, and then all of this gets settled. It's resolved without a fight over the rules, about recognizing which delegations, et cetera, et cetera. So Trump knows, and his campaign operatives know, he needs to win and rack up delegates. For the RNC, what do they need? Well, they would like to reduce tensions. They would like everyone to hold on to the unity pledge. That is now fraying in every single direction, not just Trump's. Ted Cruz is backing away from it. So is John Kasich. So the RNC looks at this scenario and says, we have 3 candidates. We once had 17. None of the 3 are committing to the thing they originally committed to, which is unity for the party. All of that creates a sense of unwelcome drama. Reince Priebus has told me throughout this campaign, well, look, a little drama's just fine. It brings a lot of attention. Well, they have now lurched quite obviously and quite conspicuously into a realm where this drama and this tension is not helping the party. And so if Trump does win the nomination outright, a lot of this gets settled. If he does not, and Wisconsin will loom very large in that conversation next Tuesday, then these kinds of meetings are going to be of the variety where everyone is sort of feeling each other out, trying to see who has the upper hand. But when all of this shakes out, Josh, if it's a contested convention, the people who have the upper hand are the people who have memorized the rules, know how to cut the deals, and know how to make deals in the moment. And we have no idea who that's going to be.
To the idea then of Wisconsin and what it might mean, numbers had suggested in terms of projections that Donald Trump might have expected upwards of 20 or more delegates. Now those numbers are skewing far downward as this gap widens between Trump and Ted Cruz. How might a loss for Trump in Wisconsin then reshape the campaign?
It could be a very important moment for Trump. Wisconsin votes all by itself. Wisconsin has a very well-developed conservative talk radio network of people in that state. Scott Walker, the Republican governor, is well attached and well regarded by the conservative base voters there. So is Paul Ryan, the Speaker of the House. In their own ways, they have been critical of Donald Trump. Paul Ryan, not by endorsing Ted Cruz, but Governor Scott Walker did that earlier this week. And all the trend lines are against Wisconsin. Because it's all by itself and because Trump could emerge from that state with as few as 3, maybe 6 delegates of the 42 up for grabs, that's not only going to be a loss, it's going to be something that significantly undermines what we talked about just a moment ago, building the mathematical equation to win the Republican nomination outright. And then it's going to raise the bar for what Trump has to accomplish in New Jersey, California, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, and other places in the mid-Atlantic and upper Northeast where the Trump campaign believes it can really rack up delegates. But if it doesn't there, then his path to 1237 becomes vastly more complicated. The idea of a contested convention becomes all the more real, and this bitter feuding over rules, delegates, and the like will only intensify.
And we've seen the Trump campaign to that end make some moves with an eye toward a contested convention, the hiring of Paul Manafort, with experience with contested conventions going back to 1976 among them, as though this perhaps increasing likelihood of a contested convention looms. What does it mean for Trump's campaign in terms of its field and ground operations at the local and state level?
Well, it means you have to create them, and that's one of the fascinating things about what's not happening in Wisconsin. Not only has Donald Trump not been there as often as he suggested he would, as a real live candidate asking for votes in person, but he has almost no organization in Wisconsin, and he's assuming in places like New York, which knows him well, New Jersey, and the other New England states or upper northeastern states I just mentioned, that he will do well because he has high name recognition. But the fact is, in a race with only 3 contestants, John Kasich, Ted Cruz, and Donald Trump, you need to have organization. And Ted Cruz is very well associated with and has done a very good job of mobilizing known conservatives in primary and caucus states. And Trump is playing catch up on that. And that's a difficult thing to do in a presidential campaign. If you always assume that it's your name ID and your ability to drive media coverage is all that you need, that's true until it's not. And when it's not true and you don't have a foundation beneath you, you can't create one overnight, and that's precisely what we're seeing happening in Wisconsin.
Major Garrett in Washington, we appreciate the time.
Thanks so much.